For years, the world has listened to thousands of podcasts. But if you dare to immerse yourself into a new experience, new ideas, viewpoints, award-worthy commentary, and a way of looking at things you didn't think were possible, strap in, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Gaming, current events, local and global, finance, sports, religion, health, and everything else. It's all here. It's all here in the Data Podcast.
So, ¿qué onda, bro? It's been a long time, no?
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get, hopefully, right, try to put out an episode every week. But I want to say, like, como if in case that we can't, I want to say, like, it might be a good idea, like,
To keep some
just
stuff.
go, like, como maybe 2 weeks is the most,
Okay.
where we don't upload content.
Yeah.
And I've also been looking at doing, like, como merch, like, como
Okay.
hats, shirts, and that kind of stuff. So, the viewers, be on the lookout for that if you want to support the channel and support the podcast. But that won't be till the future, right? But we'll let everybody know ahí about that stuff. So, it's been a busy couple of weeks. But I know on my part, I can at least speak for myself. But I ended up getting another job, right?
Yeah.
I ended up moving on from where I was at. And it was just like one thing to the next. And I remember I was like como pretty scared, pero we'll see how it goes. But I want to say like como I'm the insider, ¿verdad? Into critical race theory, you know how they're saying like, I don't know if you've seen in the news, que dicen like, oh, what are they teaching our kids? Like this critical race theory stuff. So I want to say like I'm the insider. I like, once I find out, you know, if they're even teaching this stuff here, at least locally, ¿verdad? I want to say that I'll be the whistleblower. I might even come out on the news like once I expose it. Pero so far as I've seen, like, nah que ver. Like I haven't seen, and I want to say like como the kids that I have.
Yeah.
Because pues I'm teaching math. The kids that I do have, they're like, because pues, we were taking like como polls. And right now we're working with ratios, fractions, inequalities, that kind of stuff. And I was, since we were talking about ratios, we had taken a poll in the class, how many left-handed students are there? And it's like a couple of people, two people. The rest of you all are right-handed, entonces, and they're like, yeah, see, we're right-handed. And but you do like you write your ratio, 2 left-handed to 13, let's say to 13 right-handed, So I was like, going over examples, and then I had made a mention of like, como celebrities, and I was like, okay, so like I said, like I'm trying to like think of what like these kids like, and I was like, they gotta know who Cardi B is, ¿verdad? I mean, I'm not a fan personally, ¿verdad? I'm not a fan of that chick at all, but I was like, they gotta know who that is. So hey, okay, so Cardi B, right? And I was like, how many of y'all know who Cardi B is? And they're like, they raise their hand. Oh yeah, sir, yeah, she's crazy. Todos ahí, ¿verdad? She's a really crazy girl. And I was like, okay, so somebody give me another celebrity, ¿verdad? Another band or lo que sea, ¿verdad? Somebody else. And they were like, well, I like The Weeknd. And I was like, okay, The Weeknd. Let's go with The Weeknd, ¿verdad? So then I wrote, ¿verdad? Cardi B on the board. And then I wrote The Weeknd on the bottom, ¿verdad? And then I said, okay, so if I like take a poll, ¿verdad? Like some of y'all don't know what a poll is, but that's like a survey. And a survey is also like, let's say that you could say like voting, right? You'll hear the word polls a lot when it comes to like politicians. And I said, how many of y'all would vote for Cardi B to be president? They were all like, no, sir. They were like, she'll ruin the country, sir. Yeah, no. So I was like, so everybody would vote for The Weeknd, right? And they're like, sí, okay. So then I like write them down, but I count how many students there were. Y dije yo, bueno, so I'm not a fan of Cardi B, but for the sake of like my example, I'll say that I'd vote for Cardi B, just so that we can have 1, 2, the size of the class. And they were like, no, sir, you're crazy, sir. She's gonna ruin the country. And I was just like, trying to like show them an example in math, a ratio, you know, like 1, 2, something, and showing them how to write it out, like you can write it as a fraction y todo eso. And then after that, they like, because it was gonna be time for them to go to the next class. Like I had finished with that. Se las dejé así, like I'm like, okay, so the last 5 minutes of class, I'll leave it all to yourselves. Y'all can start gathering your stuff so you can get ready to go to the next class. And they started discussing amongst themselves. And they started talking about the actual presidents. Okay. They started talking about Biden and Trump. And I was surprised to hear, man, a lot, like, I really didn't see anybody, like, that was for Biden. Now, they're kids, they don't really know the issues or lo que sea. A lot of them just repeat what, like, mom and dad say at the house, right? But judging from what I was hearing, like, I could tell, like, these kids, the parents are on a good, you know, they have, bueno,
they're informed.
Okay, so, yeah, because I have bias, right? And I'll say, like, I'm conservative, you know? Yeah. But I want to say, like, they line up with me. Like, at least the parents do, you know? Okay. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And it's totally different from when I was in in middle school, high school, you know, going through the public school. Like, I remember for me, ever since I was in 5th grade, it was always, like, instilled that the Republicans were, like, racist. Yeah. The Republicans were, like, not there to help you at all. Like, it was the Democrats who were the good side. Like, ever since I was in 5th grade, and that's how it went for me all the way through high school until I got a job and I started doing the research myself. But yeah, that was interesting, you know. There was stuff,
There's been like a shift.
Yeah.
So from when you were younger to how now, the view of the
I guess that might also be because these kids are gay. They're born, the ones I'm teaching, they're born 2008, 2009. At the time where we're getting close to graduating, but I'm class of 2010 in Roma. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these kids, you could say maybe they're from, like, their parents are from that generation. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe some of our classmates started having kids at that age, pero because I've met with them, I've met with some of them, and they're not that older, man. They're just like 4 or 5 years older than us. So I was like, maybe that's what it is. Like, it's within our generation, you know. But I honestly don't know. And that was something that was interesting. Talking about what's been going on for me outside of this. And yesterday, actually, también I had gone to because they make you do all these kind of things, like to become a teacher. Mm-hmm. And you have to sign all these paperwork y todo. And one of the things that I had to do was go and get a TB test. Oh, okay. And I had gotten one, pero I lost the paperwork. I think it's good for like 3 years. Like, if you get a TB test, it's good for like 3 years. Like, you can use that. But I had lost it. So I had gone aquí con Rural Health. Mm-hmm. And when I was on my way, man, I had an appointment. I felt really bad. And I had gone Thursday. And they told me come back Saturday around this time. So when I got out of school Thursday, I had gone by Rural Health, and it was around 4:30, 4:35, por ahí. 4:30 to 5 o'clock. And they told me come back on Saturday around the same time. So I was like, no, pues está bueno. So I took off yesterday. And there was a guy, aquí just coming out of Valores Road, man. Mm-hmm. There was a guy going on 83 on a dirt bike. It was going like fast, man, on a dirt bike. And I don't know what this guy was doing. Like, I saw him like, because I still wasn't on 83. I was like approaching the light. And I don't know what this guy was doing. Like, he was pointing like at something in the, like, behind him. And I was like, this is weird. Like, you know, dirt bikes are not, I don't think that they're street legal. Like, to be on the roads. I get, but I stop on the light. The light goes green, but I turn left where the motorcyclist was going. Pues no se cayó, bro. He like flipped over. He like, you'll see when you leave here, there's like a funeral thing right there. Mm-hmm. A little bit before on the right, there's like a ditch. Mm-hmm. That guy se clavó ahí adentro, like he just pinned himself ahí. And I wanted to stop, ¿verdad? To help him, ¿verdad? Being a rider myself. Pero pues I had to go over there. They were already waiting for me. And I was like, hopefully, a lot of people saw this guy flip over, you know, porque you could still see like the smoke del incident. Nobody stopped to help him, man. Nobody stopped to help him. And a little bit forward, passing the funeral place, the cemetery, the sheriff was right there. And not even the sheriff moved.
No.
And I was like, looking through the rear view mirror, and I'm just like, poor guy, you know. And he was trying to like get up, but I guess the impact must have been because he went down. Like,
how fast do you think it was going?
He must have been going maybe 40, 50 miles an hour.
But you think the other people maybe didn't see him, or
they had to have seen him. They had to have seen him, yeah, because there was actually a car I see on the shoulder, on a truck, and they were looking in that direction where he went. And I was like, nah, nobody helped him. So I was like,
maybe everybody had somewhere to be also. Like
sabe también. Pero pues that's crazy, man, because, you know, usually like como aquí in Stark County, cuando te quedas tirado, you know, when you're like stranded, somebody stops. Just some random stranger, yeah. Do you need water? You know, that's what they always ask. Se calentó el mueble, you know, the car overheat. But that was pretty crazy que nobody helped him.
The guy looked like he was okay. Like
he looked like he was fine, yeah. Like he was, like I kept looking at him through the rear view, and I was seeing he was getting up, and he was like getting up with the bike.
But you said he was pointing at something while he was.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody like tried to get him off road or something, but he was like pointing like behind him. He just fell off. Yeah.
Who knows?
And I was like, a real wake up call for me. I was like, damn, man, like. If this ever happens to me, like riding, nobody's gonna help me. You know, that's crazy, man.
It's dangerous, bro.
Pero yeah, no, that was something that I'm just talking about stuff that happened, you know, outside of what we're gonna be talking about today. Yeah. You know. What about you, man? How have you been?
I just been working, man. That's all. I was working.
Working in school, con tus little girls.
Guess so. Since you left, I'm having to stay late and stuff.
I can imagine. We have a mutual friend. His name is Joan, and maybe we'll bring him on here. But once we get more mics and other equipment, but we'll bring him on as a guest. But he's been telling me que it's
busy.
He doesn't even want to like begin to know what kind of stress you have. Ahí, cause pues I just left.
Yeah.
And I was like, chinetas, you know, like I feel bad. Like I can only imagine the level of stress that Tano has.
Yeah.
Puro with just medicine alone.
Yeah, I know.
Pero
and also we have new machines in there.
And new machines, ¿verdad? And you're like the person who took charge of the Parada, ¿verdad? Se llama la Parada Max.
Yeah.
And then what is that like? How many meds are fillable in that machine? I haven't gone.
There's about almost like 200 meds that you can put on there.
Oh yeah.
And it'll automatically fill them.
So it's as soon as you type it, or you have to.
You can set it up however you like. But right now we have it set up to where when it's in the print queue, when you print it, it'll send it out. So you get the label and then you just go.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, but you can also see también like como automation.
Yeah.
In the workplace. We'll see what kind of benefits that brings or not.
Yeah.
What kind of like harmful stuff does that also bring? Because there's two things, the benefits and how harmful it is.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's talk about critical race theory, man. Because I had made a mention of that. So you know what critical race theory is?
Yeah. So I wanted to mention something, but I didn't have a chance.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, when you mention like, what are they teaching our kids, right?
Yeah.
I think when they mention that stuff, is not really mentioning like the academic subjects that the teachers are supposed to be teaching,
like
but like the teacher's own views being passed on to the students, their beliefs and stuff. Because I'm not sure, but is the teachers, is it mostly like female teachers? Is it dominated by
I want to say yeah.
Okay, so right there's already a bias to like the woman view, right?
The women's
viewpoints. So women are raising our children, our students and stuff, teaching them how they believe. So there's a little bit of bias there. So I'm not saying anything about it, right? I'm just saying that it could be that it's just our teachers' beliefs, what they see, that they pass that on to their students. So that's why sometimes, like you said, whenever you were in school, you would listen to the teachers being more kind of like democratic side.
And it would be like you're saying, like more off topic, like not having to do with the lecture.
It doesn't have to do with the lecture. So say something's going on, and when 9/11 happened,
okay,
I guess a lot of the teachers had to have had their opinion on what was going on, probably blaming the president or whatever kind of party he was, or the previous one, or whatever.
Yeah, I remember
that. Politics will come into the classroom without them really having to be there, but you know that it happens.
And that's funny that you mentioned that, because I do remember that when 9/11 happened. I was actually in the 4th grade when that had happened. And I was in Roma Intermediate. That used to be the high school. That's where my dad went to his high school. And I remember that the days after and the whole year and the years after that, they were like, this is Bush's fault. Like, this is all because of Bush. And I was just like, that was like the instill. Like, they were like, Republicans caused this stuff.
Like right now, we're going to be blaming whatever's happening in Afghanistan to Biden.
But and he's blaming Trump. Yeah, so...
Yeah. So,
see? So critical race theory, but so that's like you're saying, but it doesn't have anything to do with the actual lessons, but with the actual lecture, but it's just like free time.
Like, ¿cómo se llama? Mainstream media, right?
Yeah.
So like pop culture, they'll be talking about that and kind of having a conversation. Depending on what region you are or the country, they'll be talking about that. So like, if you go back to like last year, when was it when the George Floyd situation happened? They're probably talking about that in schools and more in where the population is more African American, probably. So
and I know that one teacher got in big trouble in Roma. I think she was teaching high school, and she had came out in the news. And during that time, George Floyd, he thought the school was like they had gone virtual, like it was like online.
Oh, okay,
And so online, I guess like they have like a banner, like on YouTube or Facebook, you know how like they have like a banner background. Yes. What this teacher had decided to do was have like the rainbow flag there, but Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
And the parents of the kids, they made a big mess. Like they made a big they were like, hey, what is this crap? You know, like they made a big noise about it. And eventually, without a teacher, they made her like they put her on temporary leave.
Yeah.
And they did an investigation, but she got in trouble. Pero pues that's like también, you see the shift. Like it's the same school I went to, the same school district, but now different people are in charge, and you see like the shift in dynamics. And I want to say it's like a waking up, man. It's like you hear like a wake up culture, ¿verdad? Like I'm woke, ¿verdad? And you see like woke is crap. Like Trump, the other day came out and said that woke is like to phrase him, like what he actually said was woke culture is shit. Like that's how he actually said it. But you can also say like being woke to like Democrat lies could be a good thing, right? You could say that use like their own terms against them. And you start finding out like Democrats are actually like slavery never really finished. Like they still wanna give you handouts, but like depend on me, like I'll take care of you, you know. But you have to keep voting for me. Like I'll take care of you, and you're not gonna progress, right? You're not gonna become anything bigger, right? You're not gonna career wise or anything. You're always gonna be that if you could call it mediocre level or even lower than that, and you just depend on me. And so that's like a slave owner mentality. So you could say or at least I could say that Democrats they're like masters, like slave masters.
But that's a viewpoint, right? Because a lot of people could see it the other way around and say they're the only ones always worried and thinking about raising minimum wage, for example.
Yeah.
And thinking about human rights and all that. So a lot of people's views might be, these are the guys that care about me, you know, my class. So they're always doing good things. But in your viewpoint is if you do all those things, you're only hurting them because they're taking handouts or whatever, and they're not willing to.
Yeah, because imagine, man, like if they paid you, let's say, let's say that because during this pandemic they offered unemployment for a lot of people. I don't know if you heard that there was landlords, como owners of apartments, houses, right? Yeah. They were like, you rent them out, ¿verdad? Like you rent out your property, right, to different people. And so these guys, ¿verdad? They increased the lengths of unemployment, right? And what they also did was they're fining. They passed like some law, stupid. Merrick Garland, I don't know if he's like the United States attorney, the attorney general. I think that's what he is. That's his official title. Stupid guy. And he's saying that because of this situation, this pandemic, that if you're the landlord, you cannot collect. Like you have no right at this time. Okay. You cannot be collecting payment. Pues that's your livelihood, man. Right? Yeah. What if that was like your entire livelihood, right? You invested so much amounts into a bunch of apartments and condos and houses.
And that's all you live off of.
And what you live off of is that. And now you can't even charge the people there. Pues como? Pues how are you supposed to live, man?
But is there any other kind of government grant that would help them?
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't anything. No. So it's just protecting the renting people.
The renters. But not the owners of the business. Okay. And you saw that a lot also with small business. Like it was like the small businesses shut down, but like local restaurants, right? They were forced to shut down. But the big chains, Burger King, McDonald's, Walmart, Target, right? Those places remained open, but the little guy, they shut him out. So it was like, como, pues, what is this crap? So you can also see like...
And also the loans for the major corporations were easier to get, and the small companies have to go through a whole process to see if they even would qualify.
And that según that those loans were to pay for the employees that you were going to lay off because of the pandemic, and they didn't even do that either. But it's scary to see like como the government can just do this and everyone is fine with it. Like nobody made a big sound of this. At least not to my knowledge. Nobody, but no small business, and there were some that they were like, I'm not gonna listen to what the government says. Like this is my business, I do whatever I want. But at churches, they shut down, right, places of worship also across all religions. What is that, man? That's kind of scary, no? Because the government can just do that, and everybody just bent over, and they were like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want with me. You know, that's crazy. You know, and I guess for me, I can't really, because I'm not in that position, right? But if I had been, right, let's say that I had my own place of worship, my own church, or something like that, I would not have shut down.
Can't allow it?
Yeah. And I would have taken, but I would have came out on the news and everything, you know, because there were pastors. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that they came out, and they were finding them, and they were arresting these guys. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
And yeah, it's like the fight. It's like the fight of being persecuted for your beliefs, and ahí salían los stupid guys on CNN, and they're like, you know, you have to think, you know, you have to make sense of what's going on. Yeah. You can't be getting together, and you have to think about the people, and if you're actually right, if you actually believe in God and this and that, you should no. Whatever happens, you know.
Well, what I believe personally, if I was in charge of a place like this, obviously I know the science behind it and what could happen, so it would be prudent to close down, just have people not come in. But at the same time, if the person wants to, like, let's say someone believes that they should stay open even if as the pandemic is going on, then that's their choice. And the people who would attend the church, that's their choice also. You know what, you go at your own risk, but you can't just completely deny them the rights to go.
They had completely denied it. So going back by that to what is it, critical race theory, right? What do you think a racist is, like, in your own, like, if I ask you, like, define racist, like, what is a racist?
I guess a racist person is whenever you make someone of a different race feel inferior to you. I guess that's the only way I can kind of come up with it. So either by insulting them or acting a certain way towards them. So let's say that I was a racist, right? And let's just say, right? And let's say that I didn't like
Smurf people, right? Just to not right to mention an actual group of people. Let's say that I had something like against the Smurfs, right? Well, then that would mean that that I have like a malice intent, no? Like there's like some kind of malice intent towards Smurfs, right? Where I don't like them, you know? But couldn't racist also be like, or racism also be like treating somebody better because you know that they get treated badly?
Okay.
Right? Isn't that also racism?
Like overcompensating.
Like treating somebody better because you, well, not that you know, but maybe you think that Smurfs are treated badly, let's say. So you treat them better. Right. Like, you know, isn't that also racism? Like being inclusive, like that, instead of being exclusive, like instead of like excluding them, being inclusive, right? Where you're like including them. Isn't that racism too? Like, hey, you know what? Like, I like Smurfs, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't that racism too?
I guess
Don't you have like favor towards like Smurfs, right? You don't have anything against them, but racism could also work in favor of, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty strange, man. Especially with like what's going on now, and they're saying like, well, I can say it now in the news, but they're saying like whites are the problem. White people are the problem, and so there's a racism towards white people, right? But pues isn't that where you're like excluding white people excluding white people themselves, mind you, because it's white people who are saying this too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Isn't being inclusive like, okay, so I'm the bad guy, so I gotta treat this other race better? That's racism in itself, man. Like, I'm the bad guy, so I gotta be better to the other races. Like, I think that's a form of racism also, where you're like overcompensating, like you said, to a specific race or any other race.
Yeah, because in your mind you're conscious
of
what is going on, and since it's in your mind, you're doing something extra. Yeah. But it can be labeled as the same thing, because in this case, you're not rewarding, but like I said, you're treating someone better. So there's nothing wrong with treating people better, but it is wrong to. It doesn't have to be, like you said, like kind of a malicious way.
Yeah.
I said making someone feel inferior to you. So it doesn't have to be malicious. It's just, I'm superior to you.
Somebody's superior.
You know?
Okay. So like in sexism, they say like they bring sexism.
The male is superior.
Yeah, the male
it doesn't necessarily mean that they hate each other, right? Because obviously it doesn't make sense. But superiority would be kind of like if making the opposite sex feel inferior. Then that would be sexist, right?
I think I think the whole thing is like counterproductive.
Okay.
The whole thing about,
what do you mean?
Right, being racist and being sexist and all this, I don't think it solves anything. Like just calling people out like that, I don't think it solves anything, because it forces people to be different to a specific or to other people, right? That's my view on it. Like it forces the hand
to act different.
Like it's like okay, so how can I say this? Like let's say that you're very fond of daytime. You're very fond of the sun, but you hate the night, right? And so you have it against the night, pero then you make a big mess of that. Oh well, everybody likes this, but not this. Well, why? You know, and then it forces the hand, right, of other people, where it's like, oh, you're a deist, you know?
Yeah.
That's a thing now, right? A deist, a nightist, a sexist, right?
Yeah.
They say like there's males are more likely to get the positions, okay? But was that a male-owned company, right? What if it was a woman on the other side and she's just hiring women, right? Okay. You're saying that sexism is bad, and you're also doing the same thing, right? In Canada, they did that with what was that stupid guy's name? Justin Trudeau, I think. In his cabinet, he hired just a bunch of women to make a point. He made the point, right, that he could hire women, but they were all underqualified for those positions. So it's like the people who are more qualified, you know, for a lot of positions, I don't know how to word this. The people who are more qualified in some areas, right, in some jobs, for the most part, happen to be men. Okay? Now, there's probably more female doctors than there are male doctors, right? There's probably more male correctional officers than there are female correctional officers, right? There's probably more male construction workers and bricklayers than there are female construction workers, right? Everybody has their fortes, right? You pick, right? You teachers. We mentioned teachers earlier, right? There's probably more female teachers than there are male teachers, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? I don't know where this whole thing comes out. It's like you go into like, let's say that I wanted to go into.
There's also more female nurses, right?
Female nurses,
because they're better at caregiving.
Let's say like I wanted to become a beautician person, right? What is it? A cosmetologist?
Okay.
That's what they call them, right? Let's say that's what I wanted to be, right? Well, the industry is completely overrun by women, man, right? That's not my domain.
Yeah.
If I don't get hired, it's because I'm a man. Like, you know, I'm not the most qualified person, right?
You might not
because
you might not have the qualities, the details.
Compared to like another woman, right? Yeah. And that's perfectly fine, right? I don't have a problem with that. But what are these women like getting off like, oh well, like the industry is overrun by men. You have to look at the situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about correctional officers, you know, where the lives are in danger, firefighters, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the day, man. I'm waiting for the day where there's gonna be like a meltdown where they say like, "Oh, firemen, the firemen are here," and that term is derogatory. I'm waiting for the day, man. Policemen, oh, the policemen are here. I'm waiting for the day that term, those terms, become derogatory towards women, and when that day comes, because it hasn't came yet, you know. But I want to say when that day comes, you're already like witnessing the decline of a society. At that point, where it's like, yeah, you're right. There are some women officers, right? There are some women firefighters, but these are the terms because these industries or these kind of jobs are overwhelmed by men, right? It's perfectly fine. I don't think there's a problem with it, but you wait and watch, man. It hasn't happened yet, but that's where we're going.
It may happen.
That's where we're going with this. So we talked about racism.
I wanted to mention something that going back to racism, we'll talk about the sexism a little bit later on.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up later on.
And overcompensating. So I was watching this channel. I think it was CNN where Cuomo comes out.
Oh, okay.
And then after him, Don Lemon or something.
Cuomo, the anchor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these two guys are supposed to be like best friends. They hang out after work and stuff. But Cuomo's white and Don Lemon is African American. And his show is after Cuomo's. Cuomo's comes out first. So usually after his show finishes, for like I want to say a minute or 2 or 5 minutes, they're both on the screen and they're just kind of chatting
together.
And then he transfers the show over to Don Lemon. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I have seen it, yeah.
And there's always talk about, we were hanging out on the weekend and stuff, and they're really good friends.
Yeah.
But it always seems like the white guy is always like trying to make it a point to where like, hey man, I love you, man. You're my best friend, and because they're always talking about racism and stuff. That's the channel that they trash Republicans and Trump and stuff, and they're always when the Floyd thing happened, that was all over that channel.
Yeah.
So he always makes it a point. I think he overcompensates and wants to make it. And the other guy, to me, though, I'm just a viewer, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not either of those two. I'm not African American or white, but I just view from my point of view. Don Lemon looks uncomfortable when he's actually being like overwhelming with his comments and smothering him kind of, he's like he doesn't even tell him back because this guy's telling him I love you, and this guy's like I have to go.
Oh man.
So you can tell there also where you can obviously they're friends and everything's good and stuff, but they're trying to portray something on television, that kind of like overcompensating.
That might not be real.
Have you ever seen that or no?
Yeah, I've seen where they talk and Chris Cuomo, he's like being.
It's kind of, I want to say, to the point where it's cringy, right?
Yeah, it's cringy, man. Yeah,
he's
like
pushing it.
Yeah, like he's like polishing Don Lemon's shoes.
I'm pretty sure he loves him and they're best friends and everything because Cuomo looks like he's a really nice guy and everything. But you can see
it's like trying to like convince the
viewers, like that, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, that he's a good guy. That's interesting also because you say like the moment, like let's say like when it comes to like humility, right? And being humble, and let's say like when people tell you like, oh, like this guy's humble, right? Like he's a humble person. The moment that person says I'm humble, that's the moment that you are not anymore.
Humility left.
Yeah, humility left. So I want to say that applies to everything else. Like the moment you say I'm not a racist, that's the moment where
there's a middle ground. There's a balance. I believe that you are allowed to say I'm humble. I've heard this before, like you said, and I believe the same way.
Yeah.
But you have to be humble enough to the point where you know exactly how much. You can't be 100% humble, you know. But I'm more humble than this person, and you can tell. So the fact that you state it, doesn't necessarily mean that you're the humblest or that you're not humble, you know. But you're I want to say self-conscious enough to recognize it.
Yeah.
So you should be allowed to say it.
So okay, so what I mean like saying is like.
But when you say like I'm not a racist. It also depends. It can't be as straightforward. Like, you are or you're not because
like let's say like in a random like let's say like we're talking about something, right? And then randomly that person's just like, hey, I'm not a racist. Like nobody asked you, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a humble person. Like nobody asked you, you know. It's like in my view, it's like kind of like you're trying to convince people of what you are not, you know. And that's when true colors actually start flying. Like for me, I want to say like, am I a racist? You know, no, right? Am I a racist? No. But if I see people, like if I see cholos coming down the street, man, right? And they're like carrying bats and they're like all tatted up and they look like they're up to no good, I'm going to stay away from them, right? If I see thugs on the street, right? Let's say I'm cruising down Houston and I see a couple of African folk, and it looks like they're up to no good, I'm going to avoid them. Now, that's not being a racist. That's being looking out for myself, right?
Yeah.
That's looking out for my life, right?
Same thing as I'm a Mexican, right? And I go to LA and I go down the street and I see a bunch of cholos, like you say, tattooed Mexican bald people with shades on. I'm going to stay away from them as well. Yeah.
Those tears in their eyes that they tat up, right? What is that? That means that they killed someone.
I don't know what it means. Probably
something like that. Yeah,
but I'll stay away from them too.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't make me a racist. Yeah. That just makes me a person who I care about myself, right? If I have people with me, I care about them. I'm gonna avoid this kind of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, profiling, you could say that that's like what kind of profiling? You see, like, I mean, if they were dressed like doctors, man, right? If they were dressed like lawyers, if they were dressed with suit and tie, and they have carrying briefcases and everything, you see these guys walking down the street, you would say, right? There's nothing wrong here. I'm safe, right? Yeah. And maybe you might not be, right? Yeah. Maybe this guy might just flip, right? He might be having he might be having a shitty day, and he'll just flip by you on the street. But I want to say, like, como dress, the manner of expressing, the way you look, right? It says a lot. There's like they call that nonverbal communication. It says a lot. If you see like a dog, right, on the street. And the dog has like all kind of scars, and the dog looks like it's been beat up, you would say that this dog has seen some shit, man. Like you would say like this is a tough dog. Like it's still around. Yeah. So whatever attacked it, right? Like you can just imagine how the other dog looks if this dog looks like this, you know. So that's like nonverbal communication, right? Where like how you present yourself, right? How you present yourself to the world. It has a lot to do with that. Now, that doesn't make you a racist, right? The way that it's your interpretation of events. It's your interpretation of how this person looks. And you start making judgments, right? Yeah. You start making judgments. Like you told me that in when you had first met me, that you thought I was like a bad guy, right? Because I had like a pack of smokes on my shirt, right? Now, that's my fault, right? That's nonverbal communication. But I knew I was going in for an interview. And I should have been more professional, right?
Yeah, I should have like dressed, cigarettes on your.
Sure, that I was wearing like a, what was it? A button-up shirt, a jersey shirt, and it was tucked out. It wasn't even tucked in, And then I was going for an interview, mind you. Like you would think like I'm gonna look a little bit more presentable. Now that's my fault. Now me, because it's me. Like a mí me vale. Like I really don't care. But I'm saying like when you're out in the world, in the real world, you know who to look out for, man. Yeah. You know who to like. If you're like in Walmart, let's say, right, and you're shopping, and there's like this creep guy there, right, and you have your son with you, and you're holding his hand, his little kid, And that creep goes into the bathroom. And your son's like, hey, I need to go, Dad. Can I go to the bathroom? Like, you're not going to let him go by himself, man.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have an idea, but you know what the world is. This is the real world. Anything can happen. But you're going to go in with your son, but you're not going to let him go by himself.
Yeah.
So I think that nonverbal communication has a lot to do with a lot of what's happening and the way people carry themselves. Yeah. You know, the way people carry their attitudes, their vocabulary, their manner of speaking, their etiquette. It has a lot to do with how you come off as and how you are perceived.
Yeah.
In the real world.
You could be the nicest guy, but if you just happen to be dressed a certain way,
yeah.
and then you can make the wrong impression on someone. I know some people that I hadn't met yet, and they were like all tatted up and stuff, and I was actually scared of those people. But then when I met them, they're like nicest, friendliest people I could ever meet. So it's not always the correct judgment that you make, but just by just looking at them.
Yeah.
And it could go the other way around as well. It could be a businessman looking the finest as he can, and these are the people also making the biggest kinds of crimes. We heard about Governor Cuomo and
Governor
what
Cuomo.
he did.
Yeah.
You know,
somebody who's like a supposed professional.
You think that just because he's a governor or whatever, he's perfect.
And he's not.
Because he's presentable.
And that's what's scary, man. That's what's scary is like you don't even know what's going on behind closed doors.
So yeah, so it all goes back to judging a certain group of people because of how they look or whatever. It goes back to the actions that those the people that look that way, actions that they've taken in the past. So you could say maybe we're gonna look at all the governors now the same way and see like, oh, maybe is this guy the same or is that governor the same?
Yeah, it's like because the one person, all of them become right. Like you could say like if you were to run a statistic about how like inmates in jails and prisons. People, those of them who have tattoos and those who don't, there's probably the overwhelming majority have at least one. Yeah. Have at least one. They're not that they're all tatted up, but they have at least one.
Well, that's
and let's say that because there's pastors and preachers who are tatted up too.
No, I was gonna say that nowadays it doesn't have to be in jail or whatever. You go to the store and the majority of the people that you see from a certain age and down has a tattoo. I've actually was surprised when I started noticing this when I was going to the store. Because when I was little, it was just a bad thing to do. My parents wouldn't allow something like that. So I thought that everybody was the same. But now I just look everywhere and just all kids, adults, everyone is the majority of people. I want to say they have some kind of tattoo.
You have to really. I mean, I don't have anything against tattoos, but at the same time, it's like the decision to have something permanent on your body, and then later on, like let's say that you regret it, like you're like, Chineta's like, I wish I didn't make this, and that's usually what happens.
A lot of people, it happens a lot.
You come on later in life, and you're just like, I wish
you have to cover it up.
Yeah, you have to cover it up.
Especially that happens a lot
in positions.
For me too. I mean, for me, I like tattoos. I like the way they look. Yeah. But for my body, I wouldn't want something permanent to be on there. I don't even like scars. Like when I cut myself and I'm like, this is gonna be there forever. Like man. Yeah. But if you wanna show some kind of art, the shirts, there's shirts and there's stuff that you can wear.
Hats,
jewelry. But like you said, I don't have anything against tattoos either. I think they look cool and stuff. It's just for me personally, I don't think that.
Okay, so let me ask you this: like, let's say you had to go to the doctors, right? And let's say that there's two doctors, you don't know any of them, right? You don't know them, you don't know their work ethic, But you have one doctor, right, who's like tatted up all the way up to the neck, right? They have like that eyeball here on the neck. I see like a hand coming out of it. And the other doctor doesn't. And you had a choice, right?
Yeah.
Who would you go with?
No, I would go with the non-tattooed one. But right? And it's the same thing going back to when you go to interviews. You can't be going with the huge gauges.
Oh yeah, man, that was ridiculous. I haven't seen it in a while, right? Yeah, I remember that time.
You take that stuff off and you look presentable for work. And then some job sites won't even allow you to.
No, there's some job sites that don't allow it.
Take it off, especially if it deals with customer service.
Yeah, piercings and that kind of stuff, and it makes sense, man. Like COs, like correctional officers. Like imagine if they had like more piercings and you risk an inmate grabbing it and stabbing someone or whatever.
Or you can't even take someone serious.
Also,
when they're in that kind of position.
It's crazy. So we were talking about Cuomo, right? And last time in the last episode, right, we were talking about him, and pues, now he resigned.
He resigned.
He resigned now, finally. So
he got what he deserved.
Yeah, he got what he deserved. So
well, actually, he might have deserved more.
Yeah, he might have deserved more, but, especially right with the what was it, the daycare for adults, those nursing homes with that scandal. But if that'll come back. Yeah, I'm hoping it comes back.
There was a bridge there that I think they had named after his father.
Oh yeah.
And they were sending a petition for people to sign to change it back to its original name.
They should,
because
man. They should.
You know, his father's not at fault here.
Yeah.
But
it's a last name.
Yeah.
It's him. It represents him. It's like tainted, like it comes with the name.
Yeah,
like,
it's hard because you can't be honoring someone.
Like imagine if your last name was Hitler, man. Right? That would suck, wouldn't it? Yeah. Like let's say you weren't even related to the guy. Like let's say that. No, más tocó, right? How many Garcias do we know? There's all kinds of Garcias. Like, let's say that your last name happened to be Hitler, ¿verdad? That would suck, man. Right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, just the name by association. You know, you come off as...
You remind people of this person every time they call your name.
You come off as guilty. People are like, oh, this guy, you know, I don't want to get this guy. I don't want to deal with him.
You need to be very mentally strong to be successful in your life with that name.
You remember Romeo and Juliet, where it's like it's just a name, right? Like, what's so wrong with the name? And in Romeo and Juliet, it was like socioeconomic status, but it's the last name that had to write. Juliet's last name happened to be from the rich, right? The wealthy. Romeo's no. So that's where they were like, what's in the name, right? They asked that question, what's in the name? No, everything. The name is everything, right? If it's murder means murder, man, right? If your last name is murder, we have a problem, you know. So it's like a guilty by association or profiling by association with the name. So I wanted to talk about the Delta variant, man. The Delta variant panic. And you know that like I'm working, and I had told you about this, working like I'm at the pharmacy. You know how like pharmacists have a ratio, right? It's like 4 techs to 1 pharmacist. Yeah. I don't know what it is now, but there's like some kind of ratio, right? Like 4 techs to 1 pharmacist. When ICUs, and that's intensive care units, they have a ratio too. And they have to, right? Yeah. You don't want the same nurse, right? Treating 20 different people who are in critical condition, you know. You want 1 nurse to 1 bed, right? At least I'd hope that you'd want that, right? Yeah. The chances of survivability are highest. The care is like one-on-one, right? What the media, right? Because I have it here on my notes, right? So my first point is the ICU beds, the way it's coming off as, is like the Delta variant is a wildfire. That's how it's coming off as, right? It's a wildfire.
There's no more beds.
And there's no more beds. But in reality, what it is that a lot of these nurses didn't want to get the vaccine, right? They didn't want to get it. They forced them out. And now they're suing them. Okay. Now there's nurses suing Houston hospitals, right? Yeah. But they didn't want to get the vaccine. So, okay, you don't want to get the vaccine, get out, right? So now you don't have the staff for the amount. Let's say you have 20 beds. And let's say that 60 nurses didn't want to get the vaccine. And you only have 4 now in that unit, because now you can only have 4 beds in reality. But the way the media plays this off as, and the way people do, to cause a panic, you know. Yeah. Do the research, right? Find out what's going on. In reality, what it is they let these nurses go. The beds are there, but you don't have the adequate staff, right?
To care for the beds.
To care for the patients. And then the problem is, you know how like they have censorship, like como YouTube, Facebook, Twitter for misinformation. Wait, this isn't misinformation, man. Like you're coming off as like if I hear it, like when I heard it the first time, I was saying like, the Delta variant is it's a fire. I was like, this is a problem. Cool. And then I find out, you know, but the reason why is because there's no nurses, right? And I'm just like, where is the censorship there? Why aren't people held accountable for this, you know? Yeah. And that's a problem because like I know like me and you and other people could say it on Facebook, and I had read this the other day. Like now, if you're like spreading misinformation about the vaccines, there, like they boot your ass.
They'll ban you.
Yeah, they ban you. They'll censor you. You know, where's the censorship for these guys? You know, that's crazy. There's nobody's held accountable for that stuff. So I said that there's a ratio of nurses, right? And you'd hope that it's like 1-to-1. And I had read a study, and it was at the pulmonary. I have it here. Pulmonary critical care management, right? Yeah. And they had found that survival rates are the highest when the ratios is 1 to 1.5.
1 to 1.5?
1 to 1.5.
So two nurses for three.
Two nurses to 3 patients, right? Okay. So one nurse gets one patient, and then 2 share like another, right? Like you could say that. So 2 nurses, 2 to 3 patients, and that seems pretty fair to me. Like, and they found that the chances of survivability are highest when the ratios are like that. And in that study, what I had read was like they were trying to
more so than 1-to-1.
Well, maybe not more so than 1-to-1, but that's like the most you could do if you wanted to do more. You know,
there's not that much difference. Maybe like from 1 to 1.5, you can take that on.
Yeah. So then that's what the problem was. Cause there's not enough nurses in the hospitals. And the way it comes off as is like I hear the news, you know, and they're like, oh, there's not enough ICU beds in Cameron County, in Hidalgo County, right? We're sending them to Starr County, right? Yeah. No. But the reality is that nurses didn't want to get the vaccine. Yeah. They were being forced. They didn't want to do it. They don't have enough beds. It's like a half truth. Yeah. There is no more beds available because there's no more nurses. But if we had more nurses, then yeah, there wouldn't be that. Yeah. So they're not as full as it was in the beginning. As in the beginning, yeah. And normally, what you find out in when it comes to viruses, variants are a weakened version of the original. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Like it just gets progressively weaker. And I think what they should have done was they should have just left that optional to the nurses. They shouldn't have forced anybody to get the. But that was everywhere, or was just in Houston that they let them go? Well, I know at Houston because they were making a big mess. Yeah, the nurses were making a big noise. Like, hey, this is what they're doing over here, you know. Well, I imagine in other places as well. It does get Fox News gets a wind of it, and they're like, "Whoa, let's blow this out of the water, you know. Let's make this a big story, you know." So that's where it's like, right. Find out. In my opinion, it's like find out what's going on and then open your mouth, you know. Find out don't just start going to scare everybody, you know. And you could say like, freedom of speech. Yeah, you have freedom of speech as long as your speech doesn't invoke on somebody else's freedoms. As long as it doesn't interfere with someone else's freedoms, you have freedom of speech, you know. Now you're causing a panic here. Yeah. Right? We still don't know. I think when was it? This past week, Pfizer finally got the FDA approval, right? It did. Pfizer, and so they're working on that. So like now you have something stamped, you have something proof, right? Let the people make their own decisions, right? If they still don't want to get it right, now you could say like, the FDA signed off on it, right? You let the people decide. Yeah. Don't force it on anybody. You let them decide what they want to do, you know. But those hospitals weren't giving them that option, and I know where I used to work now, right? I had read a message that said everybody has to get the flu shot. You read a message? Where? Oh, okay. In the group chat of work, right? That everybody has to get the flu shot. And you know me, man. Like, Like, nah. It's like, nah, man. Come on. Now, I will get the ones that do concern me, like the pneumonia ones, because I smoke, right? Yeah. I got the flu already. The flu one? I've been getting it for a few years. I've never gotten that. No? No. Not in my life. I've never gotten the flu. I've heard what the flu is. Like, people tell me, like I know my grandma got it once. Well, she's gotten it multiple times also. And she says that she just feels like her bones are really heavy. For the flu? From the flu. Yeah. I guess it hits people differently. But, for me, I'm just like, Like, I've never gotten it, so I don't have any fear of. I want to sicken my immune system, even though I'm a smoker. It's up there, man, and because of the same shit. Like when I was a kid, we'd go to Mexico, we'd swim in those canals. Those canals were filled with shit, So you're like swimming in there and you're with your mouth open and you're like, hey, this is fun, right?
Yeah. No,
even as little kids, man, like you remember in public swimming pools?
Yeah.
You know, like now I'm an adult. I'm disgusted by them, bro.
That's what I was going to say. So since you're an adult and the places where you hang out and stuff, the chances of you getting the flu and stuff maybe are not that high. And that's why it depends on the person, you know. But since I have kids and stuff, I got the COVID vaccine. Just, what is the flu? Just give me the flu, you know, whatever vaccine, you know.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was a little kid, like I'd go into like public pools. We used to go a lot to the one here in Rio, the one that's there in Ringgold, right? Yeah. It's like next to the boxing club thing. And I remember I'd go underwater and I was like blowing bubbles like with my mouth open. And you drink water, right? You drink water, man. Like you're a kid. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I drank that water, man. Like I was like, I'm thirsty.
No.
Drinking the water, you know.
It's horrible, bro.
Yeah. Now I look back and I'm just like, God.
What was I doing?
God. Why did my parents take me there, you know? Disgusting crap, man. And I like in poses where like you're most likely to get athlete's foot.
Oh, see?
Also, yeah. Because of the wet, right when you go back into the lockers, right, to change, there's like a lot of wet surface. If you don't dry your feet well, ya valiste, you're going to get athlete's foot there. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on with the nurses. So now I want to talk about the Afghanistan failure, man. Now that's been a big mess on Biden's fault, and I don't know if it's fair to say, under Trump, this wouldn't have happened.
Okay, because we don't know.
Because we don't know, right? We don't know that. We don't know what would have happened there.
But maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But for other reasons, I want to say that his relationship with Taliban was a different relationship maybe than what the administration right now has.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe that's one of the reasons, like, if it wouldn't have happened.
Biden is more lenient.
Yeah, or
forgiving, more approachable.
Maybe they don't see him as like strong as this guy.
As a threat.
Yeah, as a threat.
When I had found out that I was in school when I came back and I turned on the news and I found out that this was happening. First, the Afghan failure, right? The Taliban takeover of several airports, right? And they didn't extract everybody out in time. Now, I didn't think that it was gonna lead eventually to service people serving the nation, you know, having to die for the country, right? But before that, I was just thinking like, hey, pues they have time, you know. Yeah. They have time to get people out, you know. I don't know where, because they were saying like when the Taliban was giving terms, like you get everybody out by the 31st. That's what they were telling them.
Yeah, no, but they had an agreement. But, well, okay.
Yeah, so they were saying like, you get everybody out by the 31st. But they weren't letting the people go to the airport. Like they were on their way, the people, right? Civilians were on their way, and the Taliban were shooting them.
Oh, okay. So
they couldn't get to the airport. So it's like you gave them a cutoff, time. That by this time, you get out, you know. But you don't let them get to the destination to get out.
Okay.
Because what are you doing, you know? And I wonder like, where do these stupid people, right? These people they're fighting in the 5th century, man, something. Like they're not within the times. These people still throw rocks, right? They're not all there technology wise. Like they wear dresses, man.
Yeah.
They're not all there technology wise, weapon wise either. But since we left in the fashion that the U.S. pulled out, they left I don't know how many choppers behind. I don't know how many weapons behind. Right at state of the art today equipment is at their hands. Our tax dollars in the hands.
That's why
in the hands of the enemy.
There's things that don't add up here for me either. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that they would just leave stuff behind. There's no reason to.
Yeah. It seems like it's like a kind of a thing on purpose.
Yeah, that's why. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Even when Trump had the Taliban over to have a conversation and an agreement. Yeah. And then leading up to now, because the deadline was set since Trump was here.
Yeah.
And then Biden was just following through. He couldn't, let's say, break that agreement because it could mean maybe more war or something. Yeah. Because they had an agreement. So, but in the fashion that they did it, like you said, they left stuff behind, and then they always knew that the Taliban was going to take over. They just didn't know that it was going to happen that soon.
Yeah.
So that to me, that's why it's a little bit weird. Like you already knew.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be. What was the whole purpose of the 20-year war for then? Mm-hmm. If everything's gonna be,
it's gonna go back to the way it was.
Worse than it was before. Than when you got there.
Yeah.
All the U.S. Soldiers that lost their lives there.
Yeah.
What for?
Pa nada. It's like a big spit in the face to veterans, man. Like, I can't begin to imagine what they're feeling like. And this is during our time where like we saw them go over the Operation Iraqi Freedom and all of that. A complete waste, like a complete spit in the face. But and I saw some servicemen who got injured. Yeah, Purple Hearts, Medal of Honors. They were burning their. They were like, "This is what you just did." Like some guy with a hammer, he broke his medal. Mm-hmm. That sucks, man.
Because they didn't believe in whatever it is that they were doing over there right now, and it doesn't make any sense.
I remember watching the plane as it took off, and if you saw the video, there are like people clinging to the sides, and then you just see like the airplane going, and then people just falling off. That's like that's crazy, man. Yeah, you don't want to be there so badly. Like I don't even want to know what that is, man. Where you don't want to be in a place that bad that you cling on to
in your own country.
In your own country. And fall off, but you make that decision. You cling on. You hope that you can make it.
You're not even gonna. You know that you're not even gonna survive the trip.
You're not gonna survive, and they were clinging on to the thing. It's crazy.
So was still the decision, right, of having to bring back the troops.
Yeah.
Was it a good decision or a bad decision? What was it a good decision to stay there? We've been there for 20 years. What? Nothing. Everything went back.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as it was 20 years ago. So, is it a bad idea to bring them back? Do we stay another 20 years and then if it's still the same thing, more people dying over there, more money going out, you know?
I think that this whole thing, because it's a civil war, that's what it is in that country.
But it's their problem.
Yeah, it's
their, not our
It's their problem. Yeah, it's not ours. And you see, the perfect example is when we had our civil war. In the U.S. when it was the North versus the South, the Union versus the Confederates, I think, and both sides, in that time, had appealed to France. Both sides, they were asking for France to help, but France didn't want to help. But France thinking, France used their minds, right, and they saw it as like two brothers fighting, right, one brother fighting the other brother, right. And you're a third party, but you know what's going to happen. If you decide to help the other brother, both brothers are going to turn on you. If I see you fighting with your brother, let's say, and I decide to jump in and help you, beat your brother, you're going to say, like, who's this guy? Like, why is he hurting my brother? And then both of you are going to turn on me.
It could. Yeah.
So France, I want to say that they
stayed out of it.
I want to say that they thought like that. Mejor let me stay out of this. You know, let them solve it on their own.
Yeah, but
the U.S. shouldn't have gone involved.
No, because you've been there, spending so much time and resources and people's lives. For a group of people that don't even fight for themselves. As soon as U.S. left, they said that we had to give them all the resources, better guns than the Taliban. There were more people.
300,000
than the Taliban. Everybody was trained supposedly, and they didn't even stay to fight. Nope. The leader, their president or whatever, he just left.
He left, and when he left in big passion. He left with a bunch of cash.
After everything that we did there, so at least stay and fight.
Yeah, ni eso podían hacer, and I don't know what that is, like weakness of people.
So that's one of the reasons why I don't think it's a bad decision to have left, because there was nothing for us there.
I think I'm not saying that. Just to have stayed there, like leaving was a good idea, but the fashion in which we left was not good at all. It wasn't executed at all. And then after that had happened with the airport mess, 12 service people serving the country, serving the U.S. flag in the country, ended up sacrificing their lives over this crap.
But it was actually another group of terrorists.
Yeah, because they split off into factions, no?
It was I don't know if they have anything to do with the Taliban. Supposedly the Taliban and this group are ISIS. Like enemies. ISIS-K or I don't know what it was. So, and that's another threat that comes from U.S. leaving. I guess that's one of the negative things about leaving, that these kind of groups can just rise up from us not being present. So that's a threat to the U.S.
Yeah.
But so it was another group, ISIS-K, with suicide bombers that came into the airport.
Yeah.
And blew themselves up, and also shooters.
Also.
Active shooters, yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting the civilians and the U.S. troops and stuff.
And what's crazy about those fighters, bro, is that in their minds, when they die, they're going to heaven. Like that's what they believe that.
That's what
hardcore and
people
that,
are up against with, man.
That should be the right way to think. But these guys have no fear of death, man. They're like, they actually, like, if I die, it's the best thing that could have happened to me. Dying is the best thing that could have happened to me. So they don't care. So you have like the actual fearless warrior, fearless warrior type who's like, I don't care what happens to me. I'm going to go in there and blow myself up, And they do that. And then they go on to the next life. There's no fear of death, none of us would.
They serve their purpose for life. They're like, this is what I was.
And then you saw stupid Biden's speech. You saw it?
I started watching it, but he was kind of sleepy and stuff. I decided not to.
No, but bro, it was a complete joke. Like, he starts appealing to emotion, doing that stupid fallacy, appealing to emotion. And he's like, well, I have a son who had cancer and he served and this and that. So I know what it's like. No, dude, shut up, man. Shut up, man. Like, you can't be like, it's not you. It's not happening to you right now. It happened to you in the past. It's not happening to you now. How many of these women and men, they left their kids behind. They left their spouses behind, their parents behind. And now you're just going to present them with a flag because that's all they get. The family is all they get is a flag, a folded up flag. Nakita, thank you for your service, That stupid speech.
And reminds everyone of what happened to him a long time ago.
That stupid speech of
he always says the same thing whenever.
The stupid Democrats, they always do that, man. They appeal to emotion. They're like, I know when it was stupid Kamala, and imagine what it was like for you to go into the stores and you couldn't find toilet paper because this president, right, didn't want to. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? You're making this emotional toilet paper, right? You can clean yourself other ways, right? I hope people are smart enough, right? Yeah, they appeal to emotion like that, man. It's like, come on, man. And people buy it. They're like, let me eat this up. I don't feel good about it. I heard that speech, and as soon as he did that, I was like, God, this stupid guy. This stupid guy. If it had been Trump, if it had been Trump's speech, he would have just came out and he's like, this is what happened. They killed 2 of our own. We're going to bomb the shit out of everybody. He's like, I'm going to give everybody 24 hours to leave. Like, civilians, get out. If you're still there in 24 hours, I'm going to bomb the shit out of the whole country. I'm going to bomb it. That's what would have happened. And they know that because I guess you could say, I can say, like, under Trump, this wouldn't have happened, man. And I want to say that without any doubt. Under Trump, this would not have happened. Because they know that Trump would have, right off the bat, as just even hearing it, before even coming on the news to give a presser, but
I don't know if he would actually go through with something as major as what you said, but he would definitely threat about it.
Yeah, even before going on the news, he would have said, right, they killed 12 of our own, and I already took care of it. So I'm letting you know this happened, and the people responsible are already dead. Yeah. No, Biden came on, this happened, and we're gonna get him.
But what happened afterwards? Biden did. There was an airstrike, right, by U.S. and that killed only two
high-profile targets. How do they even know? How do they even know if they bombed them and there's rubble? How do they know? I think they just say, they're just like, oh, let's add that they were a high-profile. It might have been the person who cleans the floors.
So they can say that Biden took care of it.
It might have been the person who brings the ISIS the food, ¿verdad? The person, the fruit vendor guy, right? That might have been who they bombed, and they're like, you know what? Give them a high ranking and
tell them that's what they killed.
And we're stupid, man. Like, we actually, because the media says, right? We know how honest the media can be. Yeah. Oh, okay. The media says that they got 2 high-profile targets. Oh, okay, good, very good. You eat it up, I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit, man. No. I don't think they got anybody. And actually, you know, when it was Obama, when they killed Osama bin Laden, remember that? I don't buy that either.
Oh, okay. You don't buy it? You don't think that he's dead?
No, man. You know how honest the media is, right? Oh, we just got word that SEAL Team 6 took out Osama bin Laden in some compound.
Yeah.
Documentaries of how it happened. Where's the body? Oh, they gave him a ceremonial burial and they threw his body in the ocean. Why?
No, yes,
so nobody could see.
We're never gonna know.
Nobody could find out.
Yeah.
That guy's still alive, man. That guy's still alive.
He
was like one of the richest guys in the world with all the oil he had. He was like an oil baron.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Who knows, man?
You're gonna tell me?
Hopefully he's not alive.
I want to say he is.
Okay.
I want to say I don't buy it. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, I need proof. You know, like show me. Oh, you killed this person. Great, right? What happened to the body? Oh, they threw his body in the ocean, right, to give him a ceremonial burial. A ceremonial burial? Somebody who's like responsible for 9/11? Shouldn't we like have dragged his body through the streets?
Hang him in the middle of the city.
Hang him in the city, right? Como in Mexico, hang him from the ankles and take his clothes off, you know? No evidence. And then everybody's just like, oh, we killed him. We got him.
Yeah.
This shit, what was going on here, I want to say it was like
it's mainly just for the media.
It was a political stunt, man.
Okay.
Because we're coming on the anniversary, 20 years now, than 9/11.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, oh, we've got everybody out.
Yeah.
You know, we
That's
did our
foolish.
job. The timing is kind of off, right? It didn't go according to plan. Pero no le salió bien a estos pobres, like.
That's true, because it's August. Next week is, a couple weeks.
In 2 weeks. 20 years of 9/11. And everybody who was joining the army, like I had classmates who went in just graduating high school, 2010. Within the year, ya estaban allá.
Yeah.
They would send me like pictures of like, acá ando, Danny, acá in Afghanistan, acá in Iraq. And I'm like, be careful over there, man. You know?
Yeah.
They were sending them over there. That's crazy. Yeah, that whole thing. Pero ni modo, you know, it is what it is. And hopefully we get to the truth of the actual events of what's going on. So now I want to talk about men and women relationships, bro.
Okay.
And this is going to be a controversial topic for sure.
All right.
And you already told me, you gave me a heads up that you're going to give me a lot of you're going to counter my points.
Maybe some.
So I'm getting ready for it. So
all right.
let me start off by saying that, like, come on. Let's go back to the basics, right?
Yeah.
Men and women relationships, right? Getting married, todo, as I discussed, and we discussed in the last podcast.
Yeah.
This is a God-given right? This is something godly. Contract, right? Between, and I said 4 things, right? The man, woman, God, and death, right? Where death is the only one who can separate things, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've said before, but like if I'm holding, I don't have a coin, right? But let's say that I was, and let's say that this was a coin, right? And you have 2 sides, right? The heads and the tails.
Yeah.
And I've said, like, let one side represent the woman and the other the man, right?
Okay.
And you, like, traverse the coin, ¿verdad? Or, like, this object through water by one side, and you get a lot of resistance, right? And you traverse it the other way, right? And you get a lot of resistance. But both working together, right? In the middle, you have the middle of the coin, and both things, right, flow effortlessly or go effortlessly through water.
Okay.
But the Bible defines gender roles, right? There's like roles that are clearly defined, right? What a husband should be and what the wife, right? Because you're entering a role, right? I'm not a husband yet. I'm a man. I'm a man right now. When I get married, I become a husband, and I have to step into that role, right?
That's what you identify as right now, as a man.
As a man, yeah.
Okay.
Identify
it could change in the future, but now
I'm a kangaroo now.
Okay.
So you're not a husband, right? Because you're stepping into a role. A pharmacy technician is a role. A teacher's a role, right? Being a firefighter is a role, right? So being a husband, right? Or becoming a husband, going into husbandhood, if you could, because there's such thing as manhood and womanhood, going into husbandhood, you're stepping into a role, right? And the same thing goes for the wife.
Yeah.
But women are women, right? They're single women, but they don't become the wife. They don't step into the role until they get married. Now that's where the Bible, I'm not saying that the Bible defines man and women, but the Bible defines the role husband and wife. In this case, depending on the versions of the Bible you have, they'll say a man and a woman, but what they actually mean is husband and wife in a relationship, right? So I had gotten this Bible verse, and it's from 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God." Now, the way I interpret this is the head is not this. It's not the actual head. They're talking about like leadership. The boss. Yeah, like the boss. Like el que manda, you know. So going back to that, right? El que manda, you know. So now that I've defined the head, right?
Yeah.
Going back to the verse, but I would have you know that the boss of every man, right, is Christ. And the boss of every woman is the man, right? And the boss of Christ is God, right? Now, I know at this point in time, there's a lot of women going off, man, right? They don't like what I just said there. But we're talking about husband and wife here, right? We're talking about a relationship, right? If you're not married, this doesn't apply to you.
Yeah. You're
right?
free to be.
If you're a single
you're
woman,
your own boss.
Yeah. If you're a single woman, you have no man, right? You don't have a man to give you orders, right? It's not until you step into the role of becoming the wife, right, that you have to go by these rules. And that's the only way this works. That's the only way it works, man.
Okay.
Christ is the head of man, right? Man is the head of woman. And God is the head of Christ, right?
Okay.
These are the roles. Now, if you're a single man, this doesn't apply to you, right? It's not until you become the husband and you become the wife that this applies. And this is the only way it works.
Okay.
Okay, go. So you want to say something?
I just want to say it's more of a calling.
A calling, yeah.
So instead of saying that this is the way it should be, it's saying if it's not that way already, hire yourself, make yourself competent to where you're
make yourself ready. Yeah, like if you're a firefighter, but like I'm not a firefighter, but if I wanted to be with that, there's trainings. They make you read all these kind of stuff.
The reason I'm saying is because most of the time men are capable, right, to be the leaders.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're just incompetent. So the woman has to step up in a bunch of ways. Yeah. So that's when stuff starts to get complicated because the man is just messing up. Yeah. So she needs to take charge.
Let's say like in maybe certain situations, but the partner freezes, right? Let's say your husband and wife, and let's say that you're driving down. This will be an example. You're driving down the road, right? And you're driving and you're going, and all of a sudden an 18-wheeler just jumps right in front, right? And let's say that the person who's driving is the man. Let's say, and you freeze at the moment, but you don't know how to act. You don't know what to do. You freeze. It happens. It happens to the best of us, man. Not all of us are equipped to handle every situation, but we have an idea of it. Now, the good thing is that two heads are better than one, right? In this situation, hopefully the wife would jump in, grab the steering wheel, pull it down. You avoid it, press the brake, do something, right? Or call your attention, like do this, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's a hierarchy here. Yeah. You know, there's a hierarchy of who calls the shots. You know, now I'm not in certain situations, but you might freeze. You know, that's perfectly fine. But there was a study that came out, and it said that women are 70% the initiators of divorce. Okay. And I had read in another study that alpha women, right, or women in marriages who wear the pants, if you will, right, in the relationship, those relationships never work out. For the most part, a majority of the time, they do not work out. Yeah, that's where it's like the woman is free to choose whatever man they want, right? If you want an incompetent partner, by all means, get an incompetent partner. But you would think that you want competence, right?
Yeah.
You want a man who's capable of decision making, who's capable of calling shots, And what they found was that these women, these supposed feminists and women for women, and these groups, alpha women and women power and all these things, what they found is that, they want all the power, but in times of adversity, they want none of the blame. They want none of the responsibility. It's like, I was in charge, but I don't want to deal with the consequences. Like, where a man is different. Right, and I'm talking about a man. I'm not talking about a boy here. I'm talking about a man. A man is different. A man would like take responsibility. Be like, you know what? This is my fault. Let me fix it. I'll fix it right now. You know.
Yeah.
That's the difference between, like, at our age, you turn 30. By the way, happy birthday. Those of you all who are listening. It was Tano's birthday yesterday. We're recording this 8/29. Yesterday, 8/28, right? So you turned 30, right? And I turned 30 in November. And even at our age, like turning 30, right? You have men, and you can't confuse us with boys, man. Like, there's people who are 30, right? Men who are 30, but they're still boys. You know what I mean? So that's where you have to find the difference between what is a man and what is a boy, right? What is a woman and what is a girl, right? Because there'll be a 28-year-old woman, but she might still be a girl, man. You know? So that's what they had found out in those in that study, that where women that want to take charge, it doesn't work out. And it makes sense. It makes sense because pues acá you have this verse. And we know that when it comes to marriage, right, it's a godly thing. It's a Bible thing, right? So it's like stepping into a role, that you become a firefighter, they train you, this is what you got to do. This is how you act. This is you might face all these kind of situations. Going into marriage, you have to have. Don't they make you take Bible classes, man, to get like married to church? Don't they make you go through something? I think
in like the Catholic Church,
communion and stuff. So they have the right idea there. Like you have to like get involved. You have to know why you're doing this, you know. Yeah. And here it's clearly defined. Like this is how it is.
Yeah.
And so then going back, but I have a question here, but what is an alpha male? What do you think an alpha male is? In your own view, what is an alpha male to you?
What do you mean, like in a relationship? Like in the
no, I'm talking like just in general, like an alpha male.
An alpha male, like when there's a group of guys and there's a guy that's obviously stands out and everybody looks up to him. He's the leader. Yeah. So if he says we're going to do something, everybody's like, yeah. And if everybody's going to do something and he says no, like, no, let's listen to this guy. So it's kind of como, he carries some kind of...
Like some kind of leadership.
Yeah.
So then you could say like como that alpha male, but that leadership, if something goes wrong, it would be his fault, and he'd take full responsibility because he was the one that said, let's do this, right? Yeah. So then, because I had asked this question to my sister and I was like, what do you all think an alpha male is? And then my sister's like, it's like a guy who like sleeps around with a lot of women. And I'm like, that's not an alpha male. Like that's a beta male, you know? Okay. And they were like, but isn't a beta male like somebody who follows? And I'm like, no, a beta male is like just like a woman. Like it's somebody who follows. But when you come to like como what an actual man is, but I'm talking like como alpha, true alpha, you know. People would have given me a different answer if I had asked somebody else, right? They would have said like, pues an alpha male is somebody who sleeps around with a lot of women, right? An alpha male is actually somebody who takes charge, somebody who accepts responsibility. And you have like in time of adversity, now I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that all men are the same, right? Because I already said that there's men and there's boys. Yeah. There's women and there's girls, you know. So in times of adversity, right? Let's say like como that a man goes through a heartbreak, let's say like the girl leaves, the girl leaves him, right? A true alpha man, what he's gonna do is he's gonna pick up like more hours at work. He's gonna find new projects to fill that time, he's gonna start going to the gym. He's gonna like become a better version of his former self, that's true alpha. You fall, you've fallen, you get back up, right, and you become better than what you used to be, right? That's true alpha maleness. Now, women, no, I'm saying like women, like girls, right? Like some, not all of them. When they go through like a hardship, right, and the guy leaves, what do? They wear like a mini skirt, right? They go to the club, they shake their ass right in front of a bunch of guys and sleep around with a bunch of guys. Okay. That's what they do. That's how they deal with that, right? And I want to say a big part of that is the absence or maybe the lack of the father in the household, where you have like a true alpha male, a true alpha father who like the kids by example see like hey, like here's dad and here's like him falling and he got back up anyway, Some of these women or some of these girls, they might not have had the father in the household, the actual father male figure, true alpha male, or they could see like, this is who I should aspire to get as a partner, right? Because that's what you usually try to do, no? As like when you're like growing up, like, because the first relationship you see is the relationship between your mom and your dad, right? Yeah. So you try to aspire to acquire that. So you like, you see how they get along and you're like, okay, so this is how I gotta be, right? Now, there might be some shitty spouses, man. There might be some spouses that are just not good, like maybe the husband comes home and he comes and beats his wife every night, right? And he's one of these woman beaters. And so the girl's like watching this, right? The little girl, she's seeing this and she's like, well, this is what I'm gonna get, right? And they grow up, right? And they become women, and they end up dating the same guy, right? The same guy who was like dad, right? Because that's what they think they gotta go get, because that's what they saw. And I want to say that having the actual alpha male, the actual father figure, growing up, has a lot to do with like with a lot of the reasons for divorce, in my opinion, nowadays, is because of that. It's attributed to shitty parents. Okay. And well, okay, so not shitty parents. Like maybe, like let's say that dad, right, does beat up on the wife, but he provides for his family. Yeah. Like, so maybe not a shitty parent, but a shitty spouse. I want to say that has a lot to, like, that has influence.
The spouse, you're talking about the male, the guy.
The mom or the dad, like
whichever one.
Yeah. So like, let's say that you had
because you're saying that there's the lack of the male being kind of like an alpha male.
The alpha male, yeah.
The lack of that is what messes up.
Yeah. Because that's not a true alpha man. If in that example, like if I'm saying like the guy comes home, right, and beats up on the wife, that's not a true alpha male, man. Like that's you do have the father figure, but I'm talking like the presence of an actual alpha male figure in the house or somebody to look up to, you know, even if you don't have that. I want to say that has a lot of influence with. So you see like guys today our age, you might have some friends or people who like when they fall, they just stay down. Yeah. And they're just there like chinetas, like this is how it is for me, and they look to ways to cope, and they turn to drugs, and they just spiral down out of control. Why? Because maybe these guys didn't have the actual alpha male father figure, right? Where they saw like, hey, you know what? Like I can get back up just like my dad did, right? And maybe you didn't have to see that example, but you saw the example of someone who always carried themselves, with pride, and that's what like a father is. Like it's like a proud man, of his family and stuff. And I want to say that is what attributes to divorces in this day and age, not having that father figure. And even if you don't have that father figure, there's other sources, man. There's the father that's in the sky. That's even if you don't have him, right? All you had to do was just open the book and find out, right? And you would have seen maybe my dad was never there, right? Yeah. You could say that. But pues in reality, the father that counts at the end was always there, and he never lets you go, But pues people don't see that, and people don't see like that. So that's my views on that, where going back, women who take charge, right? It might have been because in their growing up, they saw that the mom was the one calling all the shots. And I know for me, I have a big problem, man. Like one of my insecurities is I cannot be with someone who's smarter than me, man. Okay. Like in a relationship, I cannot. I don't know why, but that's one of my biggest things. Like if the girl's smarter than me, I can't do it.
There's nothing wrong with having someone smarter than you as a wife, and I'll tell you why. I used to think the same way.
Yeah.
But the men they're giving a huge task by God. Mm-hmm. He's saying, you are to be the head of your house. Mm-hmm. And women, you be subject to your men, and there's a reason for that. Women, and again, maybe women are not gonna like me saying this, but women, many a times they need to be told what to do.
Yeah,
they don't know what they want, and sometimes we don't even know what they want and stuff.
Yeah,
we don't know how they think. We don't know how they feel.
Yeah,
they are very different creatures than us. As similar as we are, we're very different.
Yeah.
We don't go through what they go through.
Yeah.
Emotionally, hormonally.
No.
We have no idea, bro. We can't even imagine. I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on in their brains, you know. But so it was up to us from God to be able to handle all that for us and for their own sake, because sometimes they don't even know what they want, bro.
Yeah.
So it's our job to keep it stable and say, you know what, I think that you're making a mistake here. Or, just take a few days and think about it. And then sometimes. So when it comes to divorce, you said 70% of women are the ones who initiate it.
Yeah.
Many times it's because they are going through some stuff that we don't see. We don't understand. We don't know what is going on. And we don't see it. And we think everything is perfect as men, right? Yeah. And we're like, no, everything's cool. While they're over there having their mood swings or whatever's going on, and looking at little things that just they won't let go. For example, if your wife or a woman or whoever tells you, you're all fat and ugly or just lazy and you're just watching TV, and if they tell me that, I'll be like, I'll probably be sad for like a second. I'll be like, whatever. You're still married to me. You love me. I'll just keep doing whatever I'm doing. Yeah. You know. But if you tell that to a woman, they'll think about that day and night for the next 20 to 30 years. They won't let it go. And they may or may not do something about it. Like if they do something about it, like they start maybe like exercising, probably because you got into their head. Yeah. If they go worse, it's because they're thinking about it and that makes them sad. So what they're doing is like making it worse, you know? Yeah. So kind of things like that. So sometimes another thing is communication. It's a very important thing. Yeah. So us guys, we think that all our communication is going well because we're very straightforward. Yeah. I'll tell you what I want. Yeah. Hey, I don't feel good. Don't talk to me for the next 30 minutes until I cool off, and then I'll come and talk to you. That's straight up. Even if it hurts your feelings, but that's what I need right now. Yeah. So if I don't tell you that, and that you keep talking to me when I'm upset probably or something inside of me, I'm going to burst out and I'm going to tell you, you know what? I'm going to explode. So I'll just... I prefer to maybe insult you for a little bit until you just give me like 30 minutes. So I'll be straight up with you. And women, they'll tell you what they want to tell you, but with some kind of weird women language that we have no idea what it means. So they'll tell you the opposite. So most of the time they're just testing us. Yeah. So they'll ask you, how do I look in this? And they're really wanting, trying to get some other information from you that you have no idea, bro. And you're like, nope, you look good. Oh, he thinks I look good, but it's probably something else that they had in their mind, right? So the point here is they're not straightforward. When they have a problem with you, with something that you're doing or that you're not doing, they're not going to come up and tell you, I need you to do this. They're not going to tell you that. So as men, we need that. I need you to come and tell me exactly what it is that I need to do. Because if not, I think everything's fine. So women bottle that stuff up and it stays in them. And then it leads to them making decisions like, this guy never changed. Yeah. Or, what, he keeps doing the same thing. He doesn't notice, but they never even told you, right? Yeah. Or let's say maybe they tell you and you just ignore it. But that's the difference between men and women also. Yeah. And
women are like very strange, man. Like I know, like I had gone to the bank the other day.
Let me look at my notes group.
And I was talking with the banker, right? And she was like the manager of the bank. And then so she on her own, she like mentioned her age, and she's like, oh, I'm just 57,
Okay.
And I was like, wow, really? You're 57? I was like, you look really young for your age. And then she got all red and she's like, hi, thank you, and I was just like, it's so weird, man. Y'all are so weird, And I was talking to this about it with my cousins también. like I've gone around, but like I'm right now. I want to say like me, I'm not so much into relation. Like I'm caught, and I've told you this before. I'm caught between looking for the wife and at the same time the thought disgusts me, like I'm being tied down to someone.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at, but in my life. So I've had to resort to hookup culture, but that's what I do. And I've gone out and I've gone around with a couple of girls already. And it's really weird, man. Like I was telling my cousin this the other day, and I was like, it's weird, like when you compliment a girl, like or a woman, right? And I'm just like, sale, it's like another guy, man. Like sale like un diablo, you know. And you're just like, hey, like you look really good today, you know. And you like, I really like what you're wearing. Like you look really hot. And this is what they say. Stop it, I'm not. Why are you saying that? And I'm just like, fucking take it. Just take the fucking compliment. You're so weird, you know. And I guess because I don't know, I don't have the experience, but I'm like, y'all so weird, man. Y'all so stupid, you know. I was like, take the fucking compliment and run, you know? Don't, stop, I'm not. I'm just like, y'all weird people, man.
Can't take a compliment.
Like, I don't know if you've ever been told, like, by a woman, like, you're a very handsome man. And all you say is thank you, right? That's what you do, right? Because you're a guy, right? You're not going to be like, stop it. Oh,
like, tell me more. Say more things.
Is that why they do it?
I guess.
Like to keep like tell me more stuff.
Yes, they're always the opposite, bro. Yeah. So if it's stopped, it means it's keep.
It's so weird.
If they really wanted you to stop, like weirdo, just call the cops on you.
I remember that I had actually killed the fire one time, and I was saying like this one girl, and I was like, "Hey, you look really hot tonight. Like I really like what you're wearing," and she's like, "No, I'm not hot. Can check it." And then I killed the fire right here because I asked, "What do you mean by that?" That's what I asked her. I was like,
confused the heck out of everyone.
I was like, "What do you mean by that?" I was like, "I just gave you a compliment, you know." And then the whole mood just fucking tanked. I had to go drop her off. She told me like, take me home.
Sometimes
it's weird.
That's what I mean by the guy having to take charge.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even know what they're saying, bro. They talk because they're nervous.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to tell them, you know, shh. Do what I say.
Or whatever it is.
Not always, bro. But one of the important things that I was going to say is many times the woman has to step up because the man is not man enough to recognize this. So to recognize that the woman is going through all this stuff and having all these issues and you're supposed to be the leader. So you kind of just like, oh, whatever, she's going through this, she's going through that. Yeah. And you don't even think about that. So, or maybe even in life situations where it's finance or whatever, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not taking care of your family.
Yeah.
Then the woman has to step in. Maybe you're gambling or you're wasting it on you're drinking too much or you're doing something, you're partying too much and you're not really providing for the family the way you're supposed to. So sometimes the woman has to step up, and this will lead to divorce at times because sometimes it's an agreement. You know, the guy is incompetent and they communicate to the woman and they're like, this is the way it has to be, and then she's fine with it as long as they're both fine with it. That's fine. But if she has to without wanting to, then there's going to be a problem. She's like, I don't want to be the man, you know, in the relationship. I'm having to step up because I have to, but then this ends up, they would prefer for someone to be competent and to put them in the place where they want to be. Sometimes they're not there being the boss or whatever because they want to. They actually want someone to take control because they don't want the responsibility, you know, and we as men have to take the responsibility. Yeah. And it goes back to whenever you get married and you do your vows, and that it's not so much the woman just kind of leaving or the man also. It's a decision that you had to make. So there's another thing in the Bible that says, let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. So when the priest is there telling you do you, Danny, or whoever takes this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife after everything else that they told you through sickness and through thick and through thin and all that, and then you say yes, okay, then let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. So sometimes when your partner is going through problems or whatever, even maybe trying to divorce you or something, that's your chance to step up and make decisions and say, you know what, I'm gonna fix this. And there's another thing that right after, I think the verses that you were reading, where man is the head of the house, and then it says, women, be subject to your husbands.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life for her.
Yeah.
So the way Christ loved the church is he gave his life for the church even when the church was lost.
Yeah.
And sin. So that's the way that God wants the
like,
men
in sickness. Yeah.
Be there even when it doesn't. When she wants to leave you or whatever, because there's stuff that's wrong with you, you need to be there and be, you know what, I'm here because that's the decision that I make as a man, and if there's anything that I have to do, I need to fix it. Yeah. So there's the lack of that will lead to a lot of divorces because the man needs to take charge.
And that goes back to true alpha man.
Yeah, because the woman might not know or be 100% sure about what she's doing. She might want to take the decision because she can't take it anymore. But if you tell her, look, we're gonna stay together because of this, and if there's something that I have to do, I'll do it. Then she'll change her mind. She'll be happy. But then that's something that you told her that she had to do. You know, sometimes they want to be told what to do. I'm not saying it like in a bad way, but I in my mind at least that's how I think. Like sometimes they just need to be, but not just be told what to do to the point is only benefiting you. You need to think and consider, because that's one thing that we lack. We don't have good communication, and we don't consider what women go through. So they go through so much. So consider those little things. And be like, it's not about me. You know, it's about her. God gave me the responsibility of taking care of her, not of her, of me. You know. So like everything's fine with me. I'm stable. My mind is fine. She can insult me. I won't feel bad tomorrow. You know. I'm good. She's the person that. Sometimes she's up, sometimes she's down. So one little thing will make her feel all kinds of emotions. So you're responsible for that. That's what I see from this verse. You know, like it's your responsibility to not take care of yourself, but take care of this person who is sometimes at times unstable.
Well, sometimes unstable. And it goes back to like what you were saying earlier. It goes back to true alpha, where like when you're there. And I had seen this video, like you see it in nature, man. I had seen this video in YouTube, and it's like it's a lion in a zoo, and there's two lionesses with them, right? And they have like this ball that one of the lionesses is playing with, right? Now El Leon, like he's like up on a tree, like he's like just looking over, he's looking over the entire perimeter. He's just doing his thing. But one of the lionesses, she's like playing with the ball, and the ball goes down. It like rolls down into like, they have like this like river kind of thing going through there. And she sees the ball going down, right? And she wants to get it. As soon as she goes down that thing, like como out of the lion's sight. The lion, like como real quick, bro. He like goes right. He like goes to her as fast as he can, and he like como bites the tail of the lioness, because she's like trying to get the ball back. Y ahí está, like como con ella, like, you know, like there, you know. And that's like como that's like an example of like, when, because you could say like como that's unstable, you know, like no thinking going on, you know, the dangers of going into the river, you know. So you're just going her, right? So he's like there, like como like no, you know, like como this is like you can die, you know. Like
so I see the example.
That's like a good example of
another thing, bro. Is because what you were saying is it pertains to a relationship, to a husband and a wife, not just to single men and women. They can be their own bosses or whatever. But another reason why it's very important that there has to be the leader, right? And the woman has to be subject to the man and everything is because, imagine, what is the most important reason a marriage happens? What is the reason for that?
For a marriage happening? Pues I guess that it's like two people coming together, but they talk about it and they say like I want to spend the rest of my life with you, you know, like that's the way I see it, you know, like you come with that decision. Okay,
but a very important part of marriage is you're eventually going to become parents to children.
Oh yeah, also yeah.
So the woman is pregnant for 9 months, and then after that she needs to nurse her baby. You know, take care of the baby. Breastfeed or whatever until the baby is good enough to be on their own. And a lot of people, they don't see it that way. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, sometimes it's okay for the dad to stay, at home as soon as the mother gives birth or whatever, and you just take care of the son, and that's fine and everything. Like, depending on what the roles are and everything. Okay. But for me, the way I see it is, the woman is a woman, for a reason. She's better at taking care of babies.
She's a caregiver, yeah.
She's better at taking care of the baby. We don't know what we're doing. So if you want to form a family, the way God intended is, there's someone needs to provide while she's taking care of the child. Yeah. She can't be providing and taking care of the child and everything. So it's a team.
Split the work.
It's a team effort. So the husband now has to be a husband and a father, but go and do whatever you have to do, work and provide for your family while she's taking care of the child. So in this situation, now you need both of them to be on the same team, to be on the same page, where she's there's nothing she can do as far as like going out and taking care of stuff. She needs to stay home and take care of that child. Things change. And then his responsibility is to bring stuff home and stuff. And this is kind of like an old school kind of view, right? Because
that's the way it should be, man.
It's still the way it should be in my view as well.
Yeah.
But this is why it's very important for the man to be in charge. Like, also,
you remember that crazy ass bitch? What was her name? Casey Anthony.
I don't know who that is.
So she was the girl in Florida who like the niña went missing, her daughter.
Okay.
Right, and it was like a big thing, man. You had to have heard about this Casey Anthony, right? She's like attractive, I guess, right? She was a single mom, and the daughter went missing, and they never found her, so she was just like presumed dead, right? Mm-hmm. And then she ended up going to court. The state filed like a suit, right? Mm-hmm. And they said like it was like the mom's fault, negligence, okay. like it was her fault. And then Casey Anthony's like, no, but I don't know what happened to my daughter, like I'm the victim here, like somebody took my daughter, But they go back like surrounding the events from the disappearance, right? The disappearance of the kid, of the daughter, to the moment that they found out, and it was actually her parents who were like, hey, where's the little girl, And what they found was that she was going to the clubs. She was like hanging out, drinking beer, and she got off on the charges, right? The lawyer was able to get her off free from all the charges. In my view, she was guilty, guilty of negligence, Pero they got her off, and this goes back to what you were saying, where you split the work, ¿verdad? Having a kid changes everything. Yeah. Like, you can't. It's not about you anymore.
Yeah, it's not about you.
The moment you have a kid, it's not about you anymore, man. You don't even matter.
You don't
even matter anymore.
That's why the pride and everything of being like who's in charge, man or woman, it goes out the window when a child comes in and you. Yeah. Both of you don't even matter. It's all about how we're going to take care of the kid.
It's about the kid.
We're going to do what's best for them.
And then now, can you imagine, like, you have to be the caregiver, ¿verdad? Two is better. I already said 2 heads is better than 1.
Yeah. Now,
you have the luxury, ¿verdad? The wife stays home, right? She's the caregiver. The person who, caregiver, man.
Yeah.
Motherhood, It's different. It's like a man... I guess a man could do it too,
but not as good.
But not as good.
And we don't have. There's something that my wife always tells me. There's like mother instinct. You don't have mother instinct. I don't know what that is, but supposedly she has some kind of mother instinct, and she knows what's going on. Yeah,
because I want to say that mother instinct comes because, number one, they hold the kid for 9 months. Number one, right? So they have that bond. Like they have that bond, and I don't know if you know this in biology. Yeah, it's the transfer of 2 different DNAs, but half of your chromosomes and half of your wife's, right? But the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, it always comes from the mother. Mm-hmm. So your mitochondria comes from your mom. Mm-hmm. Your mom got it from her mom. Like the dad doesn't pass the mitochondria. Yeah. So there's a lot of connection.
Between just
a lot of connection.
That's not with the father.
Where they can just tell, like, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. They can just tell, like, I feel something's wrong. And it's perfectly understandable. Like, so the mother instinct, and that they call it that. They don't call it father instinct. They call it mother instinct for a reason, because it's of the same thing. Yeah. They held the baby for 9 months. It was within her system. So she has the best idea of what's going on. With the.
And that's what it's so important. That's why we have to feel the responsibility of what God has given us here, right? And we have to take good care of that person who is eventually, our mom was the one who gave birth to us.
So now imagine this, bro. Like, it's a single woman now, right? And you not only have to like be the caregiver, but you have to step into the man's role now, the husband's role, and provide. You can't do it.
It's hard.
A
lot of women are doing it now.
You could do it,
but
you're not gonna do it to 100%. No. You're not gonna do it to what you because you have that load off where you don't have to. If you're the husband, you don't have to deal with that 100%. You can step in, but it's not 100%. But your responsibility primary is provide.
Yeah.
Her responsibility primary is caregiver. Yeah.
And that's not to say, for me, another thing that I want to mention is not to say that women should always just be at home just taking care of children all the time. It's just for the moment of time. Obviously, you plan it with your partner. We're going to have our children. This is what's going to happen. Our lives are going to change. But women are very capable of running businesses, working, being better than men and all that.
Yeah.
But at particular times.
Yeah.
And men, they have to be stepping up the plate when they're at home.
Yeah, at particular times. There's a verse in the Bible, okay? He said there's a time for everything. There's a time for joy and time for weeping.
Yeah.
During this time, when the kid is between breastfeeding and going to school, that time is the time that the woman needs to be
more there.
They're the most. Porque imagínate, bro, something's wrong with the kid. You leave it to a babysitter, right? Something's wrong. Something happens to the kid. They gotta go to the doctor. You're already there, right? You don't have to. The babysitter calls. Oh, this is what's going on.
It's different.
And I know for me, like, I have a big thing about babysitters because, like, I had a bad experience with mine, with one female babysitter, right? And I know that whenever I do have kids, I'm not gonna leave them to any.
That's a concern as well.
Hell no.
That's what I told my wife is. I don't feel comfortable. I feel most comfortable if you're there to take care of them, because sometimes she tells me that she wants to start working or whatever. I'm like, that's fine if you want to make that decision. But for me, my opinion is that you have the rest of your life to go do whatever you want to do and work and start a career and all that. But for now, they're just going to be babies for a little while.
Yeah.
The money can be made up all of a sudden. Like you can make money up, but the time that you have with your children, you're not going to make them up. And that time that you're supposed to be there with them, someone else is going to be with them, giving them their ideas, embracing them their way. Even if it's just for a small amount of time during the day. But that's what I talk about with my wife. And then, thank God, we've been on the same page for this, and she does take care of them. But that's
one of my last points on my thoughts on divorce, right? And we already mentioned it, is the lack of communication.
Yeah.
And I want to say that that's the biggest part, You got to communicate, man.
Yeah.
Like me, I know, like, for me, I'm mental, bro. Like, I'll tell you straight up, like, if there's a girl that likes me, you need to straight up tell me. Like, I'm not going to pick up any signs. I'm not going to pick up on any cues, clues, whatever you want to do. But playful flirting is no. You need to be straight up with me. Like, with me, because I'm not there for it. Because it's happened to me in the past, where I confused with some girl being friendly with flirting. I've confused that in the past. So for me, you need to, like, almost straight up tell me.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a big problem where it's like, I don't know what the fear is of people in general. Like, not just in relationships, but people in general have a problem expressing what they want. Like, hey, man, like, tie your balls up, and just say what it is you need. Say what it is you want,
Yeah.
I was with one girl the other day, and she's like, you should already know what I like. And I'm just like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? I was just like, I'm asking you for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here full mental, like, asking, like, hey, what do you like? Right? I don't know. You need to tell me, I'm not going to be guessing.
Throwing them off. You already know, but just ask.
You should already know. I was like, what the hell does that mean? I'm asking you for a reason. So, yeah. So now we got the football game coming up. Next Thursday. Next Thursday.
The next Thursday.
So we had said that the loser was gonna do the whole show with Tom Brady. So
I forgot about that.
Be on the lookout for that. What else? Be on the lookout for merch. Stay in tune, but we're gonna try to upload an episode once a week at least, and we'll call it an episode there. All right. So we'll see you all. Stay tuned.